In this lesson, I want to continue putting together this fork assembly. And one of the things that you notice just from looking at the graphics area is that there are a lot of origins that are showing up. Each part has its own origin, and these are all displayed on the screen. Now, there are two ways to deal with these origins. One thing that you can do is you can expand each individual part, click on the origin, and hide it. Or you can go to the Hide Show Items and turn off the display of all of the origins. Unfortunately, when you turn off all of the origins, you're also turning off the main assembly origin, which would be the one origin that would be worth having turned on. While we're talking about origins, notice that the first part in here is fixed, and we went through this whole fixed float routine earlier. Well, let's float this again. And instead of just arbitrarily fixing it, let's mate it together with the origin. So I'm going to select the part origin and control select the assembly origin, and then pick on the mate tool. And the main option that's available when you mate these together is the align axes. If you just mate together the origins without align axes, then you've just got a point-to-point coincident relationship, which will allow the part to swivel around as if it were pinned at that point. But the align axes fully defines the part, so everything is locked down. This is, in my estimation, a better way to go than fixed, because it just implies that your design intent is really to have the part lined up with the assembly origin. Leaving the part fixed is easier and faster, and is probably just a question of personal preference. Now that we've got the second tree in here partially mated, we need also to put in the second fork leg. And if we look at this fork leg, we can see that it's not symmetric side to side, but it is symmetric front to back. So if I were to mirror this, that would work out. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's use the Insert menu, Mirror Components tool, to accomplish this. On the mirror plane, let's select the right plane, and the components to mirror are just the fork leg. And then we'll hit the green check. Now, the mirror components has some options that we'll make use of later, but for now, all we need is this simple mirror. We could have also copied the part and mated it in place, but using a mirror reduces the need for additional mates. So let's move some parts out of the way here, get that front wheel out of the way, get this wishbone out of the way, and maybe we can hide some planes. So I'll come in here and click on the plane and hide it. That should hide it for both. Notice that these don't move. That's a good thing. We've got this fork tree we still need to locate, so let's select the cylindrical face and the cylindrical face. Mate these together and hit the right mouse button to accept. Now this moves, so I'm going to assign a distance between these two. When I select them, SOLIDWORKS assumes that I'm going to use a coincident mate, but I don't want a coincident mate, I want a distance mate. And I can assign this to be like 8 inches. You have an option here to flip the dimension so that the 8 inches goes the other way, but that's the way I want it to be. Okay, so let's just accept that. Now from here, this part should be fully defined, and we see that the minus is gone from it in the tree. So that's a fully defined part. You can see that the front wheel and the wishbone and the fork are still underdefined. The next part that needs to go in is this wishbone. But notice that we don't have a place for it to go. So I'm realizing that I put the wrong part in here. And let's swap out this tree part, since we also have to deal with the issue of the diameter being incorrect. Let's swap out this tree part with another part that already exists. I'm going to right-click on the part and go to Replace Components in the right mouse button menu. SOLIDWORKS wants us to specify which components are being replaced, and then they want us to say, is it just this particular instance, or all instances. And I want to replace both of the parts. And now I want to select the part to replace it with. So the new part, and this will be, we look down through here. We need to put the motorcycle fork linkage in, but not yet for that one. Okay, we need the motorcycle tree bottom. This needs to go on both the top and the bottom. And while this is being replaced, the parts are similar enough that all of the mates wind up working. If the parts were dissimilar in some ways, especially in the mate areas, you would get a red X and you would get the opportunity to repair these mates. So because everything's good, let's just click the green check. Okay, now notice that the hole diameter is still too small. The hole diameter is 1.25 inches and it needs to be 1.45 inches. So let's open up this part and double click on the tree. Got 1.25 inches. Let's increase this to 1.45 inches. And also, since we're here, let's up this value to 2 1/8, just to make sure it's good and strong. And then hit the rebuild symbol. Should notice all of this changes slightly. Flip back to the assembly with Control Tab. SOLIDWORKS is telling us that models in the assembly have changed, asking us if we'd like to rebuild. Okay, so now we've got everything in place. Let's go ahead and put this wishbone in place. There's an easier way to make some of the simpler mates. Mates like concentric and coincident can be made using smart mates. Smart mates can be done by holding down the Alt key, grabbing a cylindrical face, for example, and dragging it onto another cylindrical face, and then dropping the mouse cursor. You get the opportunity to change what that mate is here, but concentric is what I wanted, and I'll just hit OK. So this now allows this wishbone to go up and down. We still have to constrain it to the rest of the assembly. So let's take the front of the wishbone, the front of the assembly, and mate these together. Again, SOLIDWORKS is going to try to cause an error right away, but we just want to make sure that's parallel, and parallel will avoid the error. Okay, so now this moves up and down freely. Now we should have put the spring in here. I guess we could lower this and pre-assemble the spring in place. This can be difficult to do, to get it right where it needs to be, especially when you're trying to move it in 3D space. Let's hit Shift arrow for spin 90 degrees and move this part kind of into place. Okay. Well, that's as close as we're going to get it by eye. And we need a couple of things just mechanically to make this work. We need some sort of a base on here, like a big washer, to support the bottom of the spring. And we also need some features on the spring in order to mate it into place within the fork assembly. So let's work on this. The minimum diameter for the washer feature is going to be about 0.7 inches. And the maximum diameter is going to be somewhat larger than that. So we don't need to be exact. Let's create a new part in its own window. And to do this, we'll just select a plane, draw 2 circles. We could draw a single circle with a thin feature, but drawing 2 circles allows us to explicitly call out an inside diameter and an outside diameter. Now I'm going to save this file, save as, call this the spring washer. I'm going to hit V on the keyboard for tile vertically, get rid of this window, and just drag this part into the assembly. Smart mate it into place, Alt, drag, drop. And now I need to give it some relation to the wishbone. And let's see what sort of relation that can be. I click on here, where are the planes? In fact, where's the top plane is what I'm looking for. Okay, so we want to create a mate between the top plane and the surface of the washer. We'll just leave it at 15.5 for the time being. And now we need to see how we're going to mate that spring into place. Let's take a look first and see how the spring was made, because this is one of the more interesting parts in the entire assembly. Looks like a rather shapely helix that was created, and it turns out that it is a helix feature, but it's a type of helix with a variable pitch that allows us to define the pitch, the number of revolutions, the height, and the diameter. So this is a very flexible type of helix feature. So that doesn't leave us really with much to go by in terms of mating this up. We cannot use any of the 3D geometrical features of this part to mate anything to. The beginning and the end faces are planar, but that's about it. The part does have some standard planes and an axis. And so the top plane and the axis are going to be what we base our mating scheme off of for this part. So let's flip back to the assembly. And again, SOLIDWORKS wants to rebuild the model. Let's just expand the spring, the axis, and the cylindrical face of the wishbone can be mated together. We want these to be concentric, and that's good. Now we want the top plane of the spring and the face of the washer to be mated together, and that's good. This does create an interference between the spring and the washer, but we're going to assume that the end of the spring is ground down and then welded to the washer. So we need to do a couple of things here to update this geometry to make it fit our plan for assembly. The first thing is we need to cut off or grind off the end of the spring. And we could do that using Insert, Cut, with Surface, and then use the top plane to cut the solid part. SOLIDWORKS is going to consider a plane as a surface for this operation. Notice that this arrow in the middle of the part is pointing down, and that's talking about which side of the plane is going to be cut off. So that does create a flat now on the bottom of the spring, so there should be no more interference with the washer. Now we can double click on the washer and change this value to something that will fully support the spring. And give us a little space in here to get maybe a weld in between the washer and the spring. Now let's check the movement to see if the movement works. Just grab the wishbone and push it up and down. And it does work. Now SOLIDWORKS is not going to allow us for this type of motion to create a flexible spring that compresses as we move the wishbone up and down. That type of motion is typically more costly than what we've done here. We need to insert a couple more parts and do a little more mating, and we'll get right back to that in the next lesson.